some of the settings. I guess I'm live. So, hello everyone. This is Dr. Manjiri Nadkarni, Ayurvedic MD, registered holistic nutritionist, back today for another session of the Wellness Wednesday series. So, this entire 2 months, the month of June as well as the month of July, we have been talking about thyroid issues, and it is very interesting to say that I have been also planning a thyroid masterclass which will take place this Friday. So please join me for the masterclass. The link is in the description here. If you're on Instagram, the link is going to be in my bio. I can see Intimacy Healer. I think it's Way. Hi, nice to see you. It's been a long time, Way. How are you doing? Nice to see you. So today we're talking about thyroid issues and food sensitivities. I think there is a typo on the thing, but I think it should be okay. So, this is one of the most important things that is often missed when it comes to your thyroid health, right? Food sensitivities are definitely more common than anyone can consider or anybody can think of. And often you could be reacting to one or more foods, right? So while sensitivity to a food can be common, multiple food sensitivities are way more common. And the reason is because of the stressful life that we lead, the poor digestion that everybody has because of the stressful lifestyle. Your digestion, when it goes for a toss, your body starts reacting to food differently. You can't digest the food. You start noticing different symptoms like bloating, gas, diarrhea, constipation, cramping, or nausea in relation to food. And that can be understood as a food sensitivity, right? So there are different things. I have done talks before on understanding the difference between allergies, sensitivities, or intolerances, right? So intolerances, sensitivities are way more common than allergies. Allergies are more about an immune response where your immune system really creates a response to the food that you're eating, and that can cause hives or swelling or itching. Sometimes your throat shuts down, sometimes you get dizzy, you feel like you're having low blood sugar, or you feel like fainting. So these are all certain causes. um, these are all certain causes or symptoms of food sensitivities, right? So let's talk more about why this is important, right? So the number one thing that I tell people is, if you are eating the foods that your body is reacting to in a negative way, you are never going to be able to heal your body. This is especially important when we talk about healing your digestive system, or um, uh, enhancing your agni from an Ayurvedic perspective, right? So from an Ayurvedic perspective, agni is all the digestive processes taking place in your gut, right? Whether we are talking about digestion, absorption, assimilation, when food converts into bio, like when food undergoes biotransformation to be able to incorporate it into your body tissues, when you can extract good minerals out of your food, that depends on your digestion. And all these processes together can be understood as the function of agni from an Ayurvedic perspective. Now again, it's important to note that your agni also depends on several factors, right? One of them is your body constitution. So naturally, dominance of certain constitutions will give you a certain kind of agni as well. An example is people who are very fire or pitta dominant usually have a strong Tikshnagni. People who are vata dominant or who have a lot of wind energy in the body, they're going to have a very erratic digestion. Sometimes you're eating foods, they get digested. Sometimes the same food is creating trouble, right? And if you have a lot of kapha energy or the moon energy, what we talk about, either in your constitution, or if you've eaten foods that are creating any excess of kapha, your digestion is going to slow down, and that is understood as mandagni, right? So whenever there is an imbalance in the digestion, it is going to make sure that the food you're digesting is not getting broken down completely, and it will create your digestive system to show certain reactions. And if you have these chronic sensitivities or intolerances, right, what is eventually going to happen in terms of your thyroid is it's not going to let you pick up minerals like iodine that are necessary for your thyroid health, or zinc, or even selenium, right? And I have done a specific talk on the seven main nutrients you need for your thyroid health. You can check out, my previous videos. You can check them out on Facebook or even YouTube, but there is a big series that I've done where we talk about all the nutrients that you're going to need, right, to be able to have thyroid hormones function properly, and your body being sensitive and being able to receive or respond to those thyroid hormones as well, right? Now, if you have too much of thyroid inflammation as well, right, sometimes these food sensitivities, when you are eating foods that your body does not like, it will create a chronic low grade inflammation in the body. And thyroid being one of the most sensitive organs, your thyroid is going to be inflamed. Sometimes this inflammation is going to inhibit the thyroid hormone synthesis, and sometimes these factors are going to facilitate autoimmune conditions. So if there is a situation in the body going on where your immune system is overworked or it's haywire, it can easily trigger your body into launching against your own body tissues or organs. And that is what I mean by autoimmune conditions, when the body starts destroying your own body. I will take some time to say a quick hi to Anuja is here, Dr. Harish is here. We have already said hi to Darshana. Hi, thank you for watching. I can see a few more people are tuned in live. If you are watching this live, say a quick hi. If you are watching this as a replay, just say a quick hi as well, or put a hashtag as replay. Today, we're talking about food sensitivities, we're talking about food allergies and your thyroid health. And in this session, I'm talking about what exactly are food sensitivities, what are the mechanisms, that your foods can impact your thyroid health, and which foods to avoid in order to heal your thyroid, right? But before we get more into details, I would love to invite you all for my free masterclass. I'm holding a free masterclass this Friday at 10 o'clock in the morning, and that is on how to heal your thyroid, right? We're going to talk about some natural ways you can start healing your thyroid. And the first thing I'm going to discuss is the 10 hallmark signs that your thyroid is out of balance. I will also be discussing about two home tests that you can do to check your thyroid function. I'll be discussing about the five so-called health foods that can interfere with thyroid function as well, right? So let's get back to the topic. um, Sensitivities, yeah. So sensitivities to certain foods, now they can develop at any point of time, right? So when your body can't properly break your food down, or your body reacts to a food that you're sensitive to. Intolerance is when your body is intolerant to a certain food. An example is lactose intolerance. You don't have the enzyme lactase, you're not going to be able to digest lactose, right? um, Sensitivity, the symptoms can be very different. An example most common is gluten sensitivity, where people experience a lot of gas or bloating or diarrhea or constipation, cramping, nausea. And these people are non-celiac as well. So celiac gluten intolerance, gluten sensitivity is common, but non-celiac gluten intolerance or gluten sensitivity is very common as well. When we talk about food allergies, it's your body actually launching an attack, your immune system launching an attack against certain foods, and that's why you're getting more pronounced reactions, right? So whenever you have any of these, whether it's food sensitivities, whether it's food intolerances, whether it is any kind of food allergy, the main thing is your body is already out of balance, right? So, and this is the one thing I tell everyone: if we eat a poison or a poisonous plant or a fruit, everybody is going to have the same effects of the poison, right? And the best way I say is, you eat poison, you die. That's how it happens, because the nature of the poison is to kill you, right? But having gluten might create issues for you, in the form of joint pain. For a third person, it might create bloating. For a fourth person, it might create constipation. For a fifth person, it might give them breakouts and acne or any dryness in the scalp, right? So these are different signs that will vary according to something happening in your body. And in Ayurveda, there is a very important aspect that we talk about is the Shatkriya Kal. The whole process of pathogenesis goes through several levels, or several, like the process goes through different steps. And there is a saying that wherever there is kavaigunya, or an innate weakness, it could be due to genetics, it could be due to previous trauma, it could be due to different factors. That is where you're going to experience a lot of the effects of whatever wrong you're eating, or the food sensitivity. And this is the very reason why someone has issues with their gut, somebody else might have issues eating the same food with brain fog, somebody might have issues eating the same food with either um, their skin, right? So these are all because the sensitivities are in response to your body's being out of balance, right? It's not a common reaction for every single person. I'm going to say a quick hi to Muskan and Soul MB as well. And Chandrama is here as well. So I'm going to say a quick hi. If you have any questions for me, please post those in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer. We are talking about different food sensitivities and tolerances and your thyroid function as well, right? So when again it comes to your thyroid health, um, often food sensitivities, allergies are used interchangeably, right? Allergies from a perspective of either pathology, they are more generated by the IgE branch of the immune system, right? So food allergies are going to show up within minutes of ingesting the food you're reactive to. And as I said before, there could be itchy rashes, there could be swelling of the tongue, closing of the throat, you feel lightheaded, you have a low blood pressure, and this can be life threatening. And most common ones are shellfish or tree nuts, peanuts, that are very common IgE food related symptoms. Food sensitivities, on the other hand, can be governed by different branches of the immune system, right? The IgA, IgM, IgG are again certain things that could react. And IgG is typically also one of the branches, IgG immunoglobulins. If you look at that, thyroid antibodies can also be caused in cases of Hashimoto's, which are connected to the IgG branch, right? And in this, sometimes you're going to take time. The reactions are not immediate. You're not going to have things immediately, but over a period of time, you could notice even something like heartburn, bloating, gas, constipation, joint pain, any kind of anxiety as well, tingling sensation, headaches. When you talk about IBS, one of the most common things I see in my practice is irritable bowel syndrome, right? And people are like, oh, I've been diagnosed with IBS, I've been having issues with IBS. If you have IBS, you have definitive food sensitivities. So that is something extremely important to understand. Now, Sumit, I'm going to say a quick hi to Sumit. And Sumit is saying paneer causes phlegm in the throat, right? So, paneer, any kind of dairy product, can is a little bit mucus building by nature. It's going to increase the kapha. And if you have your diet which is kapha um, provoking, right? If you're having yogurt or any kind of dairy products, it will naturally create phlegm as well. And if you have a kapha type, it's going to be even pronounced. So you may be sensitive to it. It could be related to food sensitivity as well, or it could be that you're having excess of it when it's again in not in accordance with your body constitution, right? So a kapha person eating too much of kaphagenic foods is going to create issues as well, right? So five of the most common offenders, when it comes to the health of your thyroid is one is gluten, right? So if you are having a lot of gluten. Gluten is a protein found in wheat, rice, spelt, and barley. And if you're going the traditional route for breads and pastas and cereals, or even gravy, like if you have some beef gravy, it's going to be thickened with white flour, right? So these are some, gluten is one of the most common products, that protein that's found in your foods. And if you are sensitive to gluten, you are going to have issues related to gluten. And often in my practice, I've seen clients who struggle with Hashimoto's or any autoimmune conditions are sensitive to this gluten as well, right? And reactions to gluten often show up as bloating, again, IBS, acid reflux, fatigue. There are some patches in the hair as well, intolerance, anxiety. So these are all some signs. So Sumit is saying I'm a Vata Pitta type, but the paneer is causing phlegm in the throat. So probably you're sensitive to it. Again, when it comes to milk, it depends on what the diet of the cow is, what's the quality of the milk, right? The casein structure, I'm diverting a little bit from the topic here, but in North America, in most of the US as well, the casein structure is different. Um, there is the A1 casein, which is hard to digest, and the A2 casein, which is easier to digest, that's found in India. So it's going to be different. So if you are sensitive, especially to casein, you could be having phlegm in the throat because of that, right? So going back to if your doctor suggested, you can take it. I can't give you any health advice one-on-one on Instagram. So if your doctor suggested, definitely take it. And Sitopladi works fantastic for any excess cough build-up, So definitely take it. And if that doesn't help, then maybe cut the paneer completely out, right? So that's one thing you can do. So going back to the topic of gluten, reactions to gluten are very common, especially in Hashimoto's, which could lead to hypothyroid symptoms as well. And often these clients have been tested for celiac, and the celiac test is negative, right? So we're talking about a sensitivity, and we are talking about you know we're not talking about the celiac disease, right? So non-celiac gluten sensitivity is extremely common. And because I was talking to Sumit about the milk products, again, lactose is an intolerance if you're not having the enzyme lactase. But you could have sensitivity to either whey or casein, which are both milk proteins, right? And they're also extremely common in today's world. As Sumit was mentioning, he gets a lot of phlegm in the throat. So if you're getting a lot of post nasal drip, if you are feeling extremely phlegmy, if you have constant ear infections, or if you have a lot of congestion, if you're coughing all the time, if you feel bloated, or if you feel you're retaining water, chances are you're reacting to dairy, which is the second um, sensitivity that we're going to talk about, right? So I've talked about some foods to avoid in order to heal your thyroid. So the second one is dairy. Now, not every person is going to react to dairy. At the same time, dairy reactions are very common. People react to either the whey or the casein, which are proteins found in dairy. Most clients that I see, they're like, oh, I think, I'm lactose intolerant, so I'm taking the lactose away and drinking lactose free milk, but I'm still struggling with the symptoms. So if that is the case, then definitely you are reacting to casein or whey, which are the milk proteins, and not the milk sugar that is lactose, right? So this is something that you have to see. And again, sometimes, there could be a cross reactivity to goats or sheep's milk as well, but that can be tested as well. Now, some signs of dairy interactions or dairy reactions could be bloating, diarrhea, acid reflux, as well as excess coughing, sinusitis, postnasal drip, a lot of mucus buildup, but also skin conditions like eczema, rashes, as well as acne. I had one of my clients yesterday who gave up milk and all the dairy products because we tested and found that she was reacting to it. And emotionally, she feels like a completely different person, right? So, this is very important to understand that, okay, whatever you are reacting to, that food has to be given up. If you're eliminating foods that you're not reacting to, it might not help you. The third food I'm going to talk about is soy, right? So, a lot of people who have Hashimoto's or who have low thyroid function, it doesn't have to be autoimmune, but any low thyroid function will have issues with soy. Soy is again a common goitrogen, which means that it creates goiter like symptoms by lowering your thyroid function. And ideally, from my perspective, giving up soy is extremely important when it comes to thyroid health, right? And soy sensitivity can have, symptoms like loose bowel motions or bowel movements or abdominal pain, if there's nausea, if there's vomiting. There could be brain fog, dizziness, anxiety, depression. Breast tenderness is another thing that is commonly related to soy. And soy, again, is found in the form of edamame beans or soy milk, tofu, tempeh, miso, soy sauce. There are different foods, hydrolyzed soy protein is present in a lot of food. If you are vegan, there's a lot of soy in vegan foods as well. So that's the third one that I mainly wanted to talk about, right? The fourth is any kind of cruciferous vegetables. So cruciferous vegetables are not um, always talked about, but they can also create issues, goitrogenic like situations in your body, where you're not responding to the thyroid hormones, right? So definitely one of the things to do is, write down a food diary, write your symptoms on the side, write, whatever you're eating, and that will give you a good direction as to what exactly are you reacting to, right? So Sumit, um, again, as I'm saying, because I'm not sure of your situation, if you already have an Ayurvedic doctor, I would definitely consult with him, because Instagram is not the best way to give you health advice one on one, right? So please consult your doctor, your family doctor, or your Ayurvedic doctor, and talk to him about restarting or reintroducing the foods. My process is slightly different. I try to eliminate foods at least for 3 to 6 months, and then I will kind of start testing, and then I'll add the foods back in. But please do it under the guidance of a practitioner, which will give you a better benefit, right? So definitely do that. So these are the foods that I was talking about, So you have to make sure that you're not eating the foods that you're reacting to. Um, because these are going to interfere with iodine. So even if you are eating foods that are having iodine, like you're having your fish, you're having, sea vegetables, maybe sushi, right? But if you have foods along with foods that you're sensitive to, it's not going to let you pick things up. Again, from an Ayurvedic perspective, it's very important to understand the bad food combination. So an example is milk with fish is going to create a lot of issues in the body, and even the iodine from the fish you're not going to be able to pick up, right? So these are some factors to pay attention to, again, when it comes to your thyroid health. It's almost 1:28, so I think I'm going to end the talk, but I would love to invite you to the free masterclass that I'm hosting this Friday at 10 o'clock. So I'll be sharing the link right here in the comment section. Please join me for the masterclass. I have lots of people signed up. It's going to be a one-on-one interaction. You can ask me any questions that you have, and it's a super interesting thing. You'll be getting worksheets and all for it, so it's something that's really interesting. Yes, 100% viruddha ahar. And Sumit, that's one of the reason why viruddha ahar or bad combinations is such a big deal in Ayurveda, because you're not going to absorb the nutrients if you're combining foods the wrong way. Also, it's going to create more inflammation. It's going to create what we call the dosha utklesh. All the doshas are going to go haywire in your body if you start eating foods which are bad combinations. And today, an example is smoothies or mango lassis. They're extremely common. Again, thank you all for watching this live. I think I'm getting a call, so I will be hopping off the live, and I'll see you all next week. Join me this Friday. The link is here. The link is in the bio for Instagram. It's in the comments.